Warning, this video contains graphic images of very dangerous and deadly spiders. There's also scenes of unconventional spider control, and if you are triggered or scared of spiders, this video is not for you. Fluffy, you ready to do another spider video? Yep, you're looking excited, I can see that. Looking very excited. Hello, this is the beginning of week 12 of my deadly redback spider study. In this video we'll be going forwards and backwards in time, so you need to listen very carefully to what I say in this video. This yellow bin here is very much the focus of a time shift we'll be doing in the video. I've got the usual things that I grab when I'm going to start playing redback spiders. Got my spider spray. I found one of these, look at that, in the garden yesterday. These things are super nasty. It's a massive one too. So the redback spider that I've just found in this yellow bin, maybe we'll give it a bit of a battle, but I want you to look at this chart here first. This here details some very important dates in relation to redback spiders in my backyard. Oh, back in early 2017, on the 10th of January, I visited this bin and it was week 12 of the spider tank. That's when that was shot, so a long time back now. Also put a 6-month spider spray, you'll see on this bin, okay? The last big rains we've had in Sydney where I live was back here in late March, and I did some videos about those storms. You remember those videos? You probably didn't watch them because nobody watches the videos anymore. And then we lapse into the Australian winter, which is here, which is June, July, August. I know it's the reverse for the bulk of my audience who live in the Northern Hemisphere. The winter wonderland redback was there the 31st of July. That was also that very strange, very warm day. And now as I'm making this video at the start, it's going to confuse you, is August 31st. And I'm calling it the Bin Spider 2.0, and it's right now. Stepping down a bit further, last year, this was the beginning of my spider infestation when we found all the redback spiders amongst the toys. You can basically call it the 31st of October, Halloween. Now, considering back in January 10, I sprayed this bin underneath with a 6-month spray, let's count the months of protection that I saw, because I looked at this bin every week. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yes, there was no spiders on the bin at this point here, but when we get to August, yes, there is. One thing I know about spiders, and in particular redback spiders, they are very much creatures of habit. They often return to exactly the same spot year after year. I saw that down at my mum's place in the garage. There was always that redback up halfway along the garage. They seem to like a certain temperature zone. Okay, so they don't like it too hot, they don't like it too cold. But this girl here is an important one for me because it's the first one that I've seen which is laying its drop down lines and it's ready to catch feed again, to breed again. Okay, so the thing I know is once an egg sac is formed, there's a countdown of 4 to 5 weeks and then you've got hundreds of spiderlings over again. Last year, or should I say last spider season because it was 2016/17, I think I must have taken out about 40 breeding females from my backyard. Now, what impact is that going to have for the next season is still unknown. I would assume I've diminished the numbers, but who knows. But finding this girl here, to me, is a very important find. It gives me a start date for the infestation of this next season. This bin here gets taken out every 2 weeks. What I noticed was the classic leaf hanging in the web there, and I noticed some things caught up on the wheels as you do. So last night I got my phone, without saying the brand Apple, and I went in like this, and that's what they're good for. And we'll go over that footage now and I'll show you what my phone captured under there and the surrounds, and you can see the web a bit easier at night. And if you look extremely carefully, and you need to look carefully, you will find the redback spider. Thank goodness they've got that red stripe. If it was, let's say, a black widow, and black widows would be doing the same sort of action, it would be much more difficult to see. And notice how recluse this spider is. It's really hiding up under there. They don't like light, and they are often very sensitive and very jumpy when there's things around. Yeah, a very, very curious find. Beautiful in one way, but terrifying in another. I'll just move my goods and chattels here, and an impressive catch that I made yesterday, and we'll take a look under the bin right now, won't we, boys and girls? And yes, I have got gloves on, and I'll just roll this bin over nice and slowly. Ooh. I've got a torch under my camera here so we can see into darker areas, and what is very curious, I think, is up here is fairly clean. This is like the cooler side of the bin. It's this side that gets the sun for the brief bit of the day, and this is the same spot as the first spider also set up. And I also noticed on the wheel there she's got a little nibbly that she's already captured. I can also see something else bizarre going on there. That actually looks like an ant. I think they're called, well, I was going to say bull ant, but I'll be corrected. They're nasty. Wow, she's been able to capture an ant. But what I find every time is they are very good at hiding, and she'll be up there somewhere, and I think it's the next bay. There's the redback. You can just see her up there. Hope that's in focus enough. Right in the middle of the screen, you can see a redback. Well, so much for the ants cleaning up the redback spiders. As I've just shown you, the redback spider can clean up a very nasty ant. Now, one bit of good news is there are no egg sacs here, so I've captured this girl before she starts breeding. And remember, she doesn't need men to breed. I was going to try and tweeze her out, but I want to try and keep her because I need her for a prize fight, and I'm going to use this here, which is going to spray some water like that, and maybe that's going to get her out. I've never done this before. I don't know whether it's going to work, whether she's just going to sit up there and do nothing. They don't like water, but they can survive it. Okay, well, I can't see her doing the bolt yet. Well, there she goes. Okay, I've got to that part there. I'm going to bring in my little monkey tools, I call it. Wow, she's a beauty, isn't she? Just very carefully get her. I don't want her to run. Wow, she's stunning. I think she's still growing. She's got different markings on her on the back in a sense. Get her onto this. There we are. Okay, I've got her. Oh, no. Oh, she's on the deck. She's on the deck, ladies and gentlemen. This is the perils of trying to capture these things. Wow, it's a stunner. Just trying to get her onto these. I call it the thing I was capturing the spiders with amongst the tubs. Is she going to crawl into that or not? She's going for dark. Oh, I've got her on there. And, oh no. Probably edit points in this because I'm having trouble getting her onto this here. Come on, my little queen. Come on. She's only a teenager, is what I'm calling the size of her, but she's beautiful, isn't she? Yeah, she's a bit... Okay, and got her, finally. She's in the jar. Don't worry, she's got breather holes. I still really haven't got a nice way of picking the spiders up without damaging them. It's a bit clumsy or klutzy, that thing, but at least this got that spider walking. It might help you if you've got spiders, hey? But what I'm going to do next is clean this up very fast with a very special method. Well, one thing about a little bit of fire, you don't have to be overboard like me, is it's a very cleansing thing. If there was anything living up there, well, I'll tell you what, it's not living now. I'll also come along and give it a really good hose out like a normal person would. And there is something I'm going to apply on this, and then I'll lay in a date. Making sure those wheels are also done nice and clean. I'm also going to clean out this part of the bin here as well. Often spiders love to live there. A little lick of fire sorts them out. So with this once spider infested bin, and it's now nice and clean and totally free of web, I'm going to apply something to it. And maybe this will help stop spiders. I think one thing is to be nice and thorough. And it's going to stick onto this, and this is August 31st. So I'll even mark on text to the bin here the day that I'm doing this. Make sure I do those wheels because I know these spiders, they love to sit up in the wheels. And it's really important to be super thorough, and I think the camera's getting coated in this stuff as well. Yes, I'm making sure I get the outside of these little wheels as well. And I've really made sure I've gone overboard here. I think I need to go overboard because I think these spiders will take any advantage that they can to set up their little homes. And it was this bay here where Mrs. Redback Spider used to live. I'm saying that in past tense, and hopefully it'll never happen again. And sure, I've come along and I've done the underneath lip near the lid of these bins as well because the spiders love to live in there. It's like home sweet home every time. It didn't take too long to apply the white lithium grease. That's the can there. I end up using a whole can of that stuff. And I've marked the date that I've done this, August 31st, 2017. Using the white lithium, it's just a test. I don't know how well this is going to work. I don't think spiders like areas like that where they can't set up webs. And now I've made one of the most famous bins in Sydney. So we sorted out bin spider 2.0. We've applied the lithium grease on August 31st. Now we're going to go on a trip back in time and take a look at the spider tank back on January 10, 2017. And guess where we start off? This yellow bin again. Fancy that. Now this bin hasn't been moved in, well, just under 2 weeks. It's about due to go out again. But what I don't like to see is what's going on down the bottom there. Take a good look at that web there. That's definitely Redback Spider, but how big or small the spider is, we're yet to find out. Okay, I'll put the bin over onto its side. I've taped the lid on so it doesn't empty out. Now, one notable thing about these spiders is they tend not to scamper away. They tend to try and hide, which I'll use that to my advantage, I hope. And looking along the axle here of my yellow bin, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, Redback Spider, female, dangerous, deadliest thing on earth. Now, I'm pretty sure this was clean 2 weeks ago. This bin sits here in 2 week cycles, and we can see what she's done. And look here, there's a fresh kill there, one dead skink. That puts to shame the argument of people saying that the redbacks don't eat skinks. Well, there's proof that they do. Quite often there'll be the male redback like on the edge of the web, is what I notice. I tend not to get too close to the female, and I'm going to try and come in with my tweezers and grab her. In fact, what I'll do is I'll grab the skink and I'll put that in the jar. Nice long tail on that one. Okay, so she can feed on that when she's in the jar. I'm going to come in and very quickly go for one of her legs. You probably can't see her up in the shadows there. I've got to act very fast. Mind you, she's faster than me. Okay, here we go, without trying to hurt her. I have her, just pulling her out nice and gently here. And into the jar. And get my Illuminati lid on really fast. I'll just put her into the shade for a second so she doesn't cook up in the sun. It is a blistering hot day today. I'm just looking around carefully. Sometimes there'll be multiple females in one spot. A bit hard to see, a little bit hard to see. I'm not sure how well that's focusing in there. I think there's another spider in there. It seems to be another spider in there. Maybe the carcass of something that she has eaten before. I'll just pull this out and see what it is. Okay. That's a bit spooky, isn't it? That could be the skin that they shed as they grow. These spiders will shed skins as they grow bigger and bigger and bigger. Sort of no surprise to find spiders in that zone there. The normal place where you find spiders on bins, where I live, is up here. There's a great spot where spiders love to live, and I can see some very kooky activity going on up here. Yeah, sort of spider zone, isn't it? I don't know what's going to crawl out of here. It could be nothing. Could be the remnants of a bygone empire. Can't see anything running, can you? Now this axle area here, it's such a hot day, I'm not going to flamethrower. It'd be foolish to do so, but I'm going to hit it with a spray. Who knows what else is going to come running out, if anything. It's a 6-month spray, so I'd be quite curious to see if any spiders can set up in there. I'm sort of semi-choking on it as I spray. I've cleared the cobwebs out and I've given it a very thorough spray, even on the outside hubs of the wheels. The problem with these bins is basically their design. They are perfect spider homes, but I'd be curious to see if this bin is spider free in months to come. That there is Fluffy Cat down in my garage, enjoying the stool that I normally sit on to do videos. Good on you, Fluffy. But what we really want to see is the spider tank. This is how it looks coming into week 12. I'll come in and remove my anti-spiderling device, which possibly I may not need any longer, and you'll probably see why soon, and prepare myself to mark up week 12. Okay, week 12, which is basically 3 months study of this tank, and I don't think there are any spider eggs laid this week. Now Fluffy, I need to negotiate something with you. I need my chair back to do this video. Will you maybe just hop off for a little while for me? I know you're beautiful, I know you're purring, but I need my chair back. Any chance if you can release your claws? Look how a lot of cat hair on my chair there. Mind you, she is a fluffy cat. Well, thanks, Fluffy. I don't quite want a fluffy bum myself. Look at all the cat fur. I'm still there. I think I've got something that can fix that. Ah, yes, I've just grabbed my trusty Dyson DC59. It's getting a little bit old now. It's actually developed a little bit of a fault with the battery. It will basically just shut down. I think it thinks it's got a bit of a dud battery, but if you go and put it back in the charge, you can get it going again. Sort of resets it, if that makes any sense. I'm pretty sure it's going to pull off all of Fluffy's hair. Yeah. It's going to pull over the chair as well, such as the suction of the Dyson. And it's doing that weird battery thing. I'll tell you what, this is pulling off every one of Fluffy's fluffy bits of hair. Okay, take a look at the spider tank. There may have been a bit of an interlude about talking about cleaning chairs before this, or there may not have been. I may have pulled it out of the video. Noticing the mud which gets up onto the glass here. I haven't cleaned this. I don't want to clean it yet because I want to show you how the spiders have developed webs in there. Very messy on this side. But one big difference going into week 12 is the lack of spiderlings. There has been a lot of death of the spiderlings in the tank. I have put the spider tank into the tray of Mortine Kill and Protect, so anything jumps out when I've got lid off, it's going to die as soon as it hits that. I will ease the lid off. It's a lot easier when we haven't got billions of spiderlings trying to escape, and we'll show you why and what's going on very soon. And we'll take a look down inside the tank here. Okay, if you do look very carefully, there are maturing spiderlings up on the web, hanging up high. There's one large female there. I think that's the only large female that I could really see in there. There's a lot of death going on down on the floor there. Lots of death. I threw in a whole ton of crickets there the other day, some larger crickets. The Millennium Falcon is just about buried down there. I didn't do any time lapse in the last week. There's larger, I say more maturing redbacks hovering around there. There's the last skerricks of the spiderlings there, but they're not like they were last week. I think we may have seen the last of the large numbers of those guys. There's Thomas the Tank looking very ratty indeed. Critters strung up there. I saw a redback, the big female, grabbed that cricket there the other day. It's just left it there. On this corner here, we're starting to see the redbacks who have been the spiderling survivors in a sense. The ones who are... Crikey, what was that? Something flashing by in front of the lens there. Was that on the camera? Let me just stop for a second, I'm scared. Sorry about that, I thought something had crawled onto the camera and that could be quite dangerous for me. Yeah, there's a spiderling, I say, a more mature redback there. You can just start to see its colours there. There's some climbing there. It's funny, when they're like this size, I think they could get past this Vaseline line. Okay, so I've got to be very careful at the moment. In fact, here comes one now. Let's just see if we can get past that. It'd be very curious to see. That's the way that would have matured from possibly a spiderling in there. Although I did have a couple of other smaller ones. And it'd be quite curious to see if I can find any males, although who knows, I might be looking at males there. Spider experts can tell me as always. Coming around here, we're starting to see some more larger spiderlings in a sense. I don't know what to call them when they're starting to mature. They're probably a proper name. There's one crawling along there along the Vaseline line. Hopefully it will stay in focus for me. Okay, it's starting to get a feel for what's going on. It is a very different dynamic in here this week. And just coming back here, because there's one about to crawl out. Like, I've got to be really careful at the moment, as you can see. Because my audience teaches me, and because in time I've learnt the other spiders in the tank here, well, let's just basically call them false widows. Depending on what part of the world you live in, you may have a different name for this spider, but I think a good general name is a false widow spider, and I think there's quite a number of them in the tank here. It's very easy to misidentify these spiders as black widow spiders or even redback spiders. And as a redback spider matures, it goes through phases where it looks like a false widow, so it's extremely confusing. But a very important fact is they have been survivors in this deadly redback spider tank, which is quite amazing. Okay, I've just spotted what is quite a rare treat. Two males very close together. I'll try and point them out. One there, okay, and another one right there. Now what I've noticed over the weeks is the males have a very different personality and temperament compared to the females. And I think what we're learning is that the meaner you are in this tank, the more chance you have to survive. And it's the females that get to full maturity, well basically are dealing with the meanest and most deadly spiders of all. The water tank I've got down there has just become like a soup of dead woody things. A terrible, terrible thing down there. So there's small food for the masses. Each week I've been putting pieces of carrot in here and it tends to get pulled down and gets all yucky and squishy. So that's telling me there's things in there which are still alive. But what I've got this week, because I've run out of carrot, is some homegrown radish. Only the best for my black beauties and the critters that are in there. I think the other thing to note is the greenery that was in there after the first couple of weeks is all about gone now. She's been gone for a couple of weeks. Be quite curious to see whether this stuff sprouts or does something. Yeah, I would like to put carrots in. We're going to put a whole ton of homegrown radish in instead. Let's take a look at the spider that I retrieved from underneath the bin. Oh, it's getting stinky in there. It's time to add her to the tank. I'll come in and get her pet lizard first, which is extremely stinky. That is if I don't drop it like that, hoping that she's not attached to it, and a bit of bark as well or something. Okay, it's in. And what I will do is I'll come and string it up in the web, because I know they like to feed with things hanging in webs. That's going to be far more natural for them. And there's my black beauty from the bins. I don't think she's fully grown yet. I think her leg span has got a little bit more to go before I call her a fully grown female redback spider. And maybe the easiest way to introduce her to her new home is to just basically plonk her in, but even that can be fraught with danger. Okay, let's hope she goes down. There she's down, and she's looking happy. Now, knowing the nature of these spiders, will she now go on a killing spree, because she would have been agitated being taken away from her home there. She's in some web, and I think anything that's going to pass her by is going to be fair game. Now, the one thing I don't want her to do is to take out the other girl there. She's having a bit of an inspection. The first time they've touched there, I don't want them fighting. From what I've seen, they tend to be quite territorial. Mind you, they will quite often share areas as well, but I think it's under sufferance. She's actually moved into the position where the original redback from this tank was. So who knows, there might be a battle for the top spot in the tank sooner than I've thought. Now, the redback under the lizard there is the one which was originally in the tank. The new girl is the one which is above. Yeah, maybe they'll put up with each other for a little while, but from what I've seen, quite often it doesn't happen like that in this tank. She's just zoomed over across the caterpillar there and saying hello to a spiderling there. Either you're going to say hello and shake hands, or you're going to eat someone. It's going to be one of two things. At the moment there's a male right next to her there. The one thing I haven't captured is the mating between the male and female of redback spiders. It's a bit of a mystery to me still. Probably done in a lot of seclusion. And they're very nasty girls when they mate. Quite often they will cannibalize and eat the male, from what I'm reading. Not that I've seen that. Mind you, I've seen plenty of evidence of the females eating the females. So they certainly enjoy to keep it in the family. That girl there is our original redback in the tank, and just below her, that's the new girl there. She has come up to the Vaseline line and understood that she can't get past it, which is a nice sight to see. And she's actually back right next to a male redback spider, which is something which is rarely seen in this tank. We've got an escapee, yeah, but now it's down there. I can't put it back into the spider prison because it's going to die because of the insecticide, which is really, really sad. So yes, that one got past the Vaseline line. I don't think it's got long to live. And seeing that might be a timely reminder to me to get the lid back on, because little ones can escape rather easily. That's a real shame. We've just lost a male. Going by those things at the front there that look like little pom-poms or, I don't know, earbuds sticking out the front, if it can be detached from the tweezers there, that's a male that's just jumped out. Once it hits the bug spray, it's going to die. I can't put it back with the other spiders. And here's a nice shot of the new girl. She's starting to head back to where I hung the lizard, and while I'm down here and with the camera right in the tank, the crickets do feed on the lizard. I did notice that last time I had basically a lizard inside the tank here. So there is a nice week 12 update, basically 3 months into looking at this spider tank. It was the YouTuber Beanmeister22 who gave me the idea and stimulus to do something like this, totally out of my comfort zone. But I'll tell you what, I have learnt a lot about these spiders and witnessing the way they work. Mind you, I'm not an expert about it. Just because I got one tank of spiders, the audience has really helped me in some of the mysteries that I've seen in this tank. The spider prison tank terrarium, whatever you want to call it, has attracted some very nice people to my channel. It's also attracted some quite nasty haters. And sadly, some of the haters are people who also have spider videos on YouTube, and they see I'm just, well, the way they saw this tank was, I've gone out to the garden to get some redback spiders, and I thought I could get cheap thrill views by putting things in there and letting the redbacks kill things. They haven't gone back to understand the nebulous of how this tank started off and the reason why I've got toys in the tank. I look at Thomas toys on YouTube. I've got a massive Thomas the Tank collection. The spider infestation was found around the toys like that. Mind you, they were Tonka toys in the backyard. That's why that's there. I had this very horrible hater come in and said I was trying to basically pull views in by putting toys in a spider tank. God, there's some nasty people on YouTube and just people who don't want to understand how things work. I will change the frequency of the way these videos are seen. Let me get the lid on and I'll explain what I'm going to do. First thing is I'm going to take away the week indicators and we're going to go to months. Okay. Well, the 12 weeks equals basically 3 months, so we're going to go back to doing 3 dots. Okay, this will be dots representing months. And the 4th month is going to be February 2017. Spider home, it's one of these things. I'm curious to see what will happen during winter time. And for me, that's like another, really, the cold weather, another 3 months away yet. Of course, as I'm making this, it's summertime. I'm just looking at that cricket there caught up on that lizard, and it's only a matter of time before it's going to get taken out. I'm going to come in and do a macro study. I'm going to set up a GoPro in a very particular way and put it inside the tank here and very carefully get shots of the spiders, but I'd like them to set up some webs first. I will try and keep one panel of glass clean. Mind you, I can't guarantee that. I hopefully showed in the previous video how I clean the tank. Now the spiderlings have all diminished and dissipated. To me, it's a much easier tank to handle. I can handle the big girls like this. The spiderlings I've found to be quite menacing. I better leave this video here. Maybe you've got some comments to say. I'm really sorry for the delay in the upload of this. This thing, over my summer, it'll be a summer I'll never forget. And as I keep finding redbacks in the backyard, I'll just keep throwing them in the tank. I'm sure there's plenty more out there. I'm going to do a video about the maths behind the infestation as well. I think that's going to be quite curious to see what the numbers get up to. What I actually say, just up the end here, that little spiderling there, well, it's playing as if it's catching the crickets. That's how they learn. There's that telltale back leg action. Look at that. The crickets got caught. They came in for a feed on the lizard there. Oh, the way they learn, hey, aren't they amazing? Born killers right from day one. Well, I can tell you some things. I never did the macro study and put the GoPro in the spider tank. In fact, the spider tank became quite rank from this point on. I go off and I do these one-on-one battles in another spider tank, and that's where we start to see the praying mantis versus the redback spider. But possibly this video was totally confusing because of the time shift of looking at the yellow bin, for the fact there was the redback spider number 1 and then there was Redback Spider 2.0, which happened 7 months later. I think it was really important to see these first spiders of the new season because I start to understand their mechanisms and timeframes they work on. And that giant centipede that I capture, I put it up against Redback 2.0 bin spider, that is, and it is totally epic what happens between those two critters. It had my heart jumping out of my chest and into my throat. Totally amazing video. Hopefully I'll get that up onto YouTube soon and you are going to enjoy it, I guarantee it. And so many people have said to me, Leo, those giant centipedes are absolute spider killers. Well, let's just see how true that is. Oh, centipede just did a strike then. It went across the bowl straight into the redback, and it's now chasing the redback for all its life. Wow, it is the redback spider is getting web under the centipede there.